All right, so welcome everyone to Kasia's Voice.
Hi.
I'm gonna be introducing to you my extended family, the people that I love and are really close to my heart. So today I have Tony Nunez. Hi, Tony. He is for
Hi.
those of you that know him. I mean, look at the cute face, right? The fluffy hair. Normally, when we're all put together in the outside world, makeup and hair, everything is all, you know, uh, perfect. And right now you see us the way we are.
Oh, natural, baby. Oh, natural.
Exactly. It's all real. We're all going through the same thing. So we know each other for quite a few years. He is
Hmm.
fabulous dancer, very close friend of mine, just a good human being, help anyone, genuine, sincere, knowledgeable about the skill. But the bottom line is just have a big heart. So I
Oh my God.
love
If I were
having
ever on a dating profile, I would want you to write it.
totally. I mean, this is it. That's why the people that I call friends are people who are close to my heart, not for what you do, but for who you are. The conversations that we have behind the closed doors when people are not
Hmm.
watching, when you're not when the tape is not rolling and when we're not in our, fabulous attire, but when the door is closed and we're true to one another. Like, what the
Right,
heck are
right.
you thinking today?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So thank you for being brave enough to get on the camera and answer a few questions or just chat with me.
Oh
So
my gosh.
we were thinking with Tony about possibly talking about the self-worth, the feelings that we're experiencing in today's crazy world,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's obviously it's a crazy time, and it does something psychologically to all of us, just
Right.
being in a completely different universe, but the same at the same time. It's like an alternate thing.
Yes, 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 yes. Exactly. I mean, it's so crazy, right? Because we are so used to being out and around,
Right.
right? And as much as,
Hmm.
I mean, just think of it, how ironic that is. Usually when we're busy, we go, oh my God, I want my off time. I want to get away
Hmm.
from people. I want to
Hmm.
go where there is no one there. Now we have that. And now we go, oh my God, no, I don't want this anymore. Right? I want people. Right? I mean, it's so crazy. It's almost like we use this, the grass is greener somewhere else. Yeah. How
Yeah.
many times I've been on vacation, I'm thinking, oh my God, I should be working. And then you're working, you go, oh, I wish I would be on vacation. Right. So it's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
kind of like you're always missing what you don't have. Now I get it. This is a mandatory vacation, right? And lots of people
Hmm.
worry about the financial situation. I completely understand it. But my mindset is very much I'm trying to enjoy that moment, enjoying the time that I have off, right? And it's
Hmm.
not easy. Like, you know me, and for those that do know me, I go, 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 I do stuff. I like to, almost that raise that energy, right? And now I'm like,
Hmm.
there's nowhere to go. I don't have to.
Hmm.
I don't have to put the makeup on, right? You could
Right.
be
Right.
with the girlfriends. You could go from your day pajamas to the evening pajamas, and no one will know.
Yep. I'm surprised you haven't started planning and decorating for your Christmas party yet.
I know, totally.
It's
Almost, almost.
gonna be epic, kids. It's gonna be epic.
That's it. That's it. Let's do homemade decorations, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
so tell me a little bit about what's happening with you. How are you? Uh, Not necessarily coping, but how was your day? How are things? What's happening in your head? Like if you can let us in into your head a little bit, like be.
Yeah. Yeah. Please, that might be scary. No.
No.
I don't know. No, I think the most important thing that I feel that's good for me and helps me sustain and get through the day is just by maintaining a schedule. Like I know we don't go to work, but if there are things that we can always do, like whether it's things in the house, whether it's things in the car, whether it's things, on your body for exercise or whatever, if there's things that you can always set a goal with something. And if you have a goal, you don't know, we all don't know how long this is going to last. It doesn't matter. You just work at that goal every day. It doesn't matter how long you know it's going to last or not. You just work at that goal every day. So I set up a schedule, it includes like exercise, workout, running or whatever, yoga, whatever. I still practice my dancing. every day, because that's always a part of who we are, you know.
Absolutely.
And you know, I kind of plan out what we're going to do for dinner, what I'm going to make, you know, things like that, getting creative. You know, my friend Bobby T over there in his place cooking every night and posting that kind of inspired me, you know, things like that, you know, books I haven't caught up on, you know, things I haven't, you know, researched that I always wanted to research, things of ways to expand my mind, you know, allotting time for everything, you know, don't just say, oh, I have the time now. I'm going to do it or not do it, or I'm going to try to do it or whatever, but actually writing out schedule like we did when we were working and doing everything. It just kind of helps for sure.
Well, totally. That's what I've noticed as well. You know what? It's interesting how sometimes we don't want to have a schedule, kind of like going to the vacation, right? We enjoy the time. Okay, it's a vacation, it's fun. Of course, this is not necessarily the most glamorous vacation we're taking, because a lot of time are, you know, not everybody's as fortunate being in California. Not everybody's as fortunate having a house, having a yard, being able to go out. So we're, you know, stuck. Some people feel kind of stuck in the house. But
Right.
just like you said, having a structure, we are creatures that like to have structure, right? Because then you just feel like you are lost. Like all of a sudden that space, it's too big, right? We might enjoy it maybe for a few days, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm not doing nothing. And then the mind end up going almost like, I'm not a good human being. I'm not a good citizen because I'm just working, right? All of a sudden, it's crazy. I've organized my walks. Like I started hiking and oh my God, riding a bicycle, let me tell you. When people say once you learn it, you know it's forever, it's a lie. Oh my God, the first time I did a bicycle, I was scared, and I am not the person that gets scared. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to stop? But I had to organize that. When I don't, I will, you know, start, because right now we are so connected through social media. It's so easy to tuck in. You're looking at other people's lives, right? And all of a sudden, you know, oh my God, they're doing this, and I should be doing this. And, you know, sometimes you end, like I at least end up feeling guilty, right? And then I'm like, oh my God, this is not what I wanted to do. This is not my life. I'm looking at somebody else's life. And if you're cautious, if you spend 3-4 hours, right, you're just being consumed, and then you have a tendency to not maybe always feel that great about your life. So kind of like you said, if you ask yourself what it is that I want to do, like what are the books you said you want to read, what are the things you want to practice, what are the people that you want to reach out to. Yes, you cannot see them, but you can, you know, FaceTime them, right? And you guys can cook together, you can have a drink, you can have a toast, right?
Absolutely.
So I totally agree with you. That structure definitely have the same, like you, giving me a lot of like peace of mind, like a calmness that I go, okay, this is what I do. So it feels a little bit more normal.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, we're dancers, so we have friends from all over the planet, right? So they're all in different time zones, and you can be like, okay, this is my time, that frame that I'm going to call these people, because this is when it's going to be good for them, you know, on the East Coast or in Europe or whatever, you know, and then these are times where I'm going to connect with my West Coast people or whatever it is, you know. I, you know, you talked about the self-worth, and, you know, whether we're busy working or whether we're busy doing our staycation, right? Our mandatory staycation. It doesn't really, self-worth is a big issue that plagues all of us for sure. Like it's something that, that for sure kind of creeps up the most when, like you said, when you kind of start to look at other things and other people and other lives and say, well, why isn't mine ... And, you know, the benefit of social media is that we can, even in our mandatory staycation, still connect with people. But then the other side of social media is how it's designed, or how people have used it over the years, is to really project this fabulosity. And whether it's, you know, staying at home, or whether it's going on vacation, or whether it's working, whatever, you're projecting a fabulosity. And it's to create a desire for other people to be interested in you. And it does a lot of times create like an envy. But because we are having this, you know, time to ourselves, I think the most important thing is, like, within the structure of the schedule that we're talking about, is to have time where you are meditating or alone in your thoughts. So that way you can actually, use positive affirmations for yourself about who you are, about your life, what you did today, what you were doing that week, just confirmations of things, based on the fact that, your life has nothing to do with anybody else's. You know what I mean? Your life is your life, whether you're working or whether you're not working, your life is your life. And you can find your self-worth, whether you're doing mundane at home things or whether you're doing big projects, overseas for work or whatever the case may be. Our actions don't necessarily have to identify us. They're a part of who we are. They're a part of what we do and how we operate, but they don't necessarily hold our entire being. And so therefore they shouldn't also hold our entire self-worth. And we just have to keep that in mind.
You know what? So well said. So I'm doing the hikes, and I'm doing this hike with a friend of mine who we know each other for 20 years. I'm hoping that I might be able to get him on one of my talks. And what we've noticed, right, that because right now you can't do stuff, right? I mean, you can do small things around the house. You can, like I've created a website, I've done small things, but not the big things. Right. And what was interesting that when we're hiking, especially when you're outside, there is nothing to do. So we end up talking about feelings. We end up talking about who we are. And it was such a big thing because, we are so go, 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 especially I think we as the dancers, as the artists, right? We have so many projects, and lots of time I've noticed we end up talking about what do we do, not who we are, right? So that's such a huge thing, and you have to be so aware. And right now, having the time, right, of being a little bit calmer, being a little bit more connected, and looking at someone else's life, and you go, oh my God, I'm not feeling as great. Ask yourself why. What is it that I'm experiencing, first of all, and then ask yourself, why am I experiencing this, right? And then maybe I would like to have that life. So then you can create it. Or maybe you go, I don't necessarily envy the life, but I like the little part. I like that they're brave. I like that they are, vulnerable, or I like that they are wild, that they're crazy. And then you go, well, I like it. Maybe I have that part within me as well, right? Yeah. So just like what you said, if you take the time to search for who we are versus what we do. So now our conversation don't have to be, can you help me with this? And can you help me with this? I'm doing website, which button to push? I'm posting a video, which camera should I buy? We can have a conversation. Well, how are you doing today? Right? And
exactly.
Maybe we don't always have to say we're fabulous. Right? Like someone, we're talking about our common friend, posted the other day that they're not feeling that great. And they were feeling pretty frustrated, looking at everybody else going, oh my God, life is fabulous. It's not always. Like yesterday, I was having a pretty rough morning, right? I woke up for whatever reason, and I slept funny. My neck was a little bit out of shape, and then it was hard to get going. And I'm not gonna spring out of the bed. So of course I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? What, my normal, no, I gotta booty myself into it.
Yeah.
And it was so hard to admit. But then I was scheduled to go on my bicycle ride. So I drive to see my friend. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just feeling really shitty. Pardon my language, right? He goes, you know what? I do too. So we were like two grumpy people. And because we admit it, we start making fun of each other, right? We start kind of pushing each other, right? And then we were able to turn it around simply because we admit to it. We were brave enough to say, you know what, today I'm not into this best mood, even though yes, we're going out, and yes, being outside. And I don't know if you've seen, we actually put the bee outfits, and we were crazy in the world. You have to post. So we said, you know what, the whole idea was designed to cheer up other people, but first we got to cheer each other up, and then we can do other stuff. And all of a sudden it made us bond so much better, so much more, because we allowed each other to be vulnerable and say what's happening. So I think that, that's so awesome.
I think so too. That is so important, because feelings are so funny, because they're so powerful and so consuming, and they either can have a good connotation or a bad connotation. And so my thought about it is that like everything, there has to be a balance. you can't just ignore feelings, especially even the negative ones. You cannot ignore any of the feelings, especially not the negative ones,
Correct.
because they're just as valid as the positive, happy ones, right? So we can't ignore them. Well, but although at the same time, we also can't let them consume us, right? So one of the most important approaches that I always think about when it comes to feelings is the importance of acknowledging the feeling, saying it out loud, feeling it, going through the motions of feeling it. Because if you don't go through the motions of feeling it, you're not going to be able to transition in or out of it. You know what I mean? You're not going to go from the grumpy place to the happy place, or the agitated place to the calm place. You're not going to be able to transition. I mean, we're sentient beings. We're supposed to feel. So we've got to transition through feelings. We're not going to be healthier otherwise. So I think that is such an important aspect of this whole staycation, is that we have to acknowledge our feelings, say them out loud, feel the feelings, but just even though they're there, don't let them be all consuming. It's kind of like a conversation that goes on over there. Like you might hear it and you might kind of sort of know what's happening over there, but you can choose to not listen in so intently, right? So it's a choice. You can understand it, that there's something happening that you can acknowledge or whatever, but you can choose to not wholeheartedly like delve into it, right? Or, whatever you got to do. It's one of those things we've got to kind of feel exactly what we're meant to feel, but then we also have to acknowledge, that our feelings are also not a big identifier of who we are as well.
Right, exactly. And you know how people say a lot of time, we've heard these phrases, happiness is a choice, right? And of course, it's so great, and it's such a fabulous thing to throw it out there. It is a choice. I always tell people, it's kind of like looking at having two windows. One, there is a sunshine, one, there is a rain, right? And sometimes you look first when there's a rain, and that could be your sad feeling. Sad, that could be exhausted. It could be, gloomy day, I call this, right? Now, just like you said, you can then choose, okay, I'm going to dig into it and see why this is happening, what's happening.
Right.
You might even at some point enjoy it, right? Because it gives you a little bit of a relief. But choice, are you going to be looking at that window, or are you going to go, this is a rain, but over there's the sunshine, and you can choose to go, this is what I would like to be. And so it's taking action. You might not always, it's not so always easy to look, but you go, this is what I would like to go, like going to your vacation. What are the steps? Like playing vacation. If I want to go to, let's say, Greece, I need to buy a ticket, I need to look at the date, I need to pack my suitcase, right? There are steps that you need to take before you end up being there. And the same within the happiness. You go, okay, I'm feeling this, but I would like to feel something else. So why don't I discover what are the things that make me happy? It could be a happy song. It could be a happy movie that you look, going outside, biking, riding, exercising, calling your friend and say, you know what? I need you today to dig me out of this thing, or help me. Right? Let's cook something. So be proactive in getting yourself out. And if you don't know how, I'm sure you know someone who can help you. I'm sure you know someone says, oh, when I talk to this person, I always feel fun. I always feel, I know that they're probably going to tell me a joke, or they're going to say, they're going to do a funny face or something, right? To just, for a little bit, get you out of there. And then it's easier. You're on the way to that, happy place, or whatever that place might be, right?
Because I mean, we're gonna feel bummed out, we're gonna feel sad, we're gonna feel disappointed, we're gonna feel a little anxious. That's normal. Those are normal things. But to stay in that condition is where we get into a little bit of trouble. And like you said, there's ways that we can get ourselves out of it, and we want to acknowledge it. But I think one of the most important things is to ask ourselves why we're feeling this way. You know what I mean? And I think that that's a very crazy question for a lot of people, because most of the time people that's a little too vulnerable for people to be getting into within themselves. They don't want to feel all of that or understand why they're feeling all of that. But the reason why the why question of why we're feeling something is so important, I feel, is because if we don't know where it's coming from, we're just going to keep falling into the same traps where we're going to be stuck in stuff, or a repetitive thing. Like I said, feelings within themselves, negative or positive, are not bad. But but staying in it longer than is productive or necessary, that can be a little bit tricky, where we, might lose sight of important things. So we really want to ask ourselves, why are we feeling this way? And oftentimes the reason why we're feeling this way has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on right now. It's just what's going on right now is triggering why we've actually always had these feelings.
Yes, it's almost like our interpretation of that. It's like you see something, it's happening, and now how we interpret that, right? So like, it's probably going to sound crazy. To some degree, I actually enjoy not going, right? Because my life been so crazy, right? I go, I travel. Now I'm like, wow, I get to see my parents almost every day. I love it, right? I'm like, wow. Yeah. And now all of a sudden I discover being outside. It's really nice. I really enjoy that, right? So it's the same thing. Yes, I'm locked, right? And sometimes I'm thinking, oh my God, I cannot go, right? Nothing has changed, but my perspective of it, or my feelings sometimes creep in, the good one, the bad one, right? And it's so interesting, almost like sorting things out, like having, drawer for white socks and black socks. Black socks go here, white socks go here, and putting my white socks versus
right. No, you're right. It's really, because negativity is going to be there no matter what, right? Or I should say, not ideal circumstances are going to happen, whether it's happening right now, or whether we were working and doing all the things that we were doing before. Negative circumstances always happen. And you mentioned an analogy about sunshine window versus rainy window. I think that one of the best ways to kind of, when we're looking at the two different perspectives, to kind of think about this is to, yes, there is sunshine, right? Yes, there is rain. Yes, there's clouds and gloom. But, how are we looking at that rain? Like, oh my gosh, after this, everything's going to be so green and blooming and beautiful. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so happy we needed this rain. We were drying out here for a while, whatever the case may be. Things like that. I mean, understanding that there's a bigger purpose other than the outside of the current negative, connotation that we always put on that circumstance. So there's something bigger happening, and that's kind of where I'm ultimately taking this whole situation, mandatory staycation, is that, whether you agree with it, whether you don't agree with it, whether you like it all the time or whether you don't like it all the time, none of that matters, because at this point there is a bigger thing that's happening, a bigger picture that's happening that not all of us can be 100% hip to,
Absolutely. I mean, I love what you just said, right? It's looking at it, right? Because I was just talking yesterday to my parents. A very common conversation right now are how tough everything is, right? How everything, all the negativity, right? There is a virus, so many people are affected, someone could die. What are we going to do? Is there a vaccination? Is there not vaccination? All these things that are, I would say, the black socks. We discuss the black socks all the time, right? But just like what you mentioned, now look at the bright side. We actually have time to spend with the family, right? I would not have time to go and cook with my mom, right? To help her with her website, to do this video with you, right? Normally, so the other day I talked to someone who I see at the competition all the time, but I'm either judging or I'm running the event. They're cooking. We say hi, bye, quick hug, and off we go. Now all of a sudden, because we are not going anywhere, we had a fabulous sharing conversation of who we are.
Nice.
We actually, I mean, look at the parents. Now, at first it's kind of scary because, oh my God, now I have to take care of my kids. They're not at school, right? I have to homeschool them. But at the same time, you have dinner with them. You can play with them. My brother, okay, perfect example of my brother. So he just had a baby girl in February.
Congrats.
Right? Normally, he would have had to go to work. He would have seen her in the evening only. Now, he's working out of the house. He holds her all the time. He is giving this gift of being with her every day, with his wife, with the baby, right? So there are so many positive things. Now we might get a little bit frustrated because we're not used to. We are so used to leaving the house, right? Doing our own thing. Now you're like, wow, I'm spending the time with my significant other, with my husband, with my boyfriend, with my wife. We have to find almost like it's dating time again, right? You to find the time, right? Be excited, be accommodating. So there is so many great things. You have to ask yourself, how do I see my life in the future, right? Because life might not necessarily be right away back to how it was. How do you like to create your life? What are the things that are important? I've noticed I start thinking, this was important to me, or I thought it was. Is this really what's important to me? Or is it really because the society tells me I should be doing that? And I've gotten in such a habit of doing that, that I do not even see that there's anything else that I might enjoy, right? So you can actually see, wow, life is actually pretty fun without having to go into work, without having to do things. I can do things that I want to do. And then it's scary because we have not asked ourselves the question, what it is that you wanted to do, who you really are, back to the feeling. Why do we like? Why don't like? Maybe you will see, I like to talk to someone that I never thought I would have. And maybe I don't like talking to people that I've always have talked to. Right? I mean, so it's a very, it's a growing time.
It is, because I mean, and it is according to human nature. I remember my sister growing up, like she was skinny and then she wasn't, then she was skinny again and she wasn't. And it was funny because the times where she kind of wasn't at her, for her feeling, her best body shape, she would put a lot more time and attention into her hair, her makeup, her shoes, her clothes, and she would feel good about herself that way. You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, and so it's kind of funny, you know, it's kind of human nature. If something is not 100% settling to us, we have to try to look for other ways to make us feel happy and stable, or, you know, I love what you talked about with the family. I think that is one of the most important things that we as a society were missing, because we were so busy with working and being financially stable, successful. I think that it clouded a lot of our personal relationships, and it stifled a lot of them. And whether you're in a quarantine situation where, you know, you're falling in love with your spouse all over again, or you're having a special time with your children or your parents all over again, or whether you're in a situation where, oh, this is not the person I thought they were, and you change it up, right? And you're like, those things would not be happening if we didn't have this time. And those are just as important, you know, whether you're strengthening a relationship or whether you're realizing that relationship is not for you, those are equally just as important, because it's all towards your health and sanity.
Right, exactly, because it's moving you forward as a human being, as a unit, versus being just in that rat race, you know? Like, I mean, look, we cannot buy stuff, right? We buy food. I have not missed going shopping. And trust me, I love my shoes. I like the dresses. I like the products. I mean, we do. I'm guilty of it as anybody else. And I'm not saying it's bad to have those things, right? I think it's fabulous that we do enjoy this, especially being girls. Of course, we love stuff like this, but you realize how little we need for happiness, right? It's the time that I go out. Like, we were bike riding. You see people smiling at you, right? We have these funky costumes, and just the joy on people's faces, people waving, we're waving at them. And you go, oh my God, I'm so happy doing such a simple things.
Right.
We show people, oh, I'm cooking dinner. And other people are like, oh, I'm cooking dinner as well. You don't buy, you don't indulge in, you know, 30th pair of shoes, right? That no one even look at my feet, right? No one cares. They just want to see my voice. They just want to laugh. And so we go to those basic needs of how we just need to feel connected. We just need to feel loved, appreciated, part of something, someone, right? It's awesome. I actually so great for humankind, because we have gotten so busy. I need another house. I need another payment. I need another iPhone. Oh, because a new one is coming in. I need another $1,000. So let's take another job. Let's work 5 more minutes here, another hour here. And before you know it, you have all these things. You don't have time to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so true.
You don't have time to give someone a hug and say, you know what? I just want to have time with you. Right. So I think it's so awesome to actually, like the world have given us time. Right. Yes. And it's,
It's
Yeah, I
amazing.
love
It's
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's not just that, it's our carbon footprint. I mean, the planet was in a rough place before, and it has dramatically improved. I mean, just ask our friends in LA. Like, they can tell you taking outside a walk around their neighborhood is significantly better breathing than
Oh,
it was
oh, I'm
before
sure.
all of
Yes.
this, you know. And I just heard a report on the news that, like, if you've heard birds, like if you go outside and you listen to birds, the birds actually sing differently, because what we don't realize is that apparently they are very sensitive to not just air quality pollution, but also noise pollution. So the more that happens, the more different they sound when they're kind of, vocalizing. And so when you go outside, they were telling everybody to, go outside and actually listen to the birds and actually hear what they're singing. It's completely different now. So it's
Oh,
kind of cool. We have we're becoming a new renewed from within, but then the flip side is the planet is kind of becoming renewed as well.
exactly. We're all connected, right? Everything, because as much as lots of time, in a regular conversation, we sometimes think like we do not matter. Our opinion do not matter. We as a unit, we do. Right, we're connected to everything. We connect to our friends connect to other people, we connect to the planet, we connect to everything. So thinking that we're insignificant, it's so crazy, right? Yes,
Right,
we might be
right.
small, we're a small little unit, but just think of the ants. Every ant, right, creates this big family, right, that they can do fabulous things. And I think as a society, as humankind, this is kind of sometimes what we forget, right? Some people think
Yes.
that they matter so much, and some people think they're insignificant. And if we all just kind of think we're equally significant, right, or equally
Mm-hmm.
insignificant,
Mm-hmm.
right, all of a sudden
Right, right,
we
right,
are a small part of big machinery that, just like you said, the birds,
right,
the animal,
right.
everything, the planet is being affected. So that's so exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's so awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is, and what I think people who are having the hardest time with this circumstance. I mean, because we all have good days and bad days. Don't get
Oh,
me wrong. We
oh,
all have good days and bad days, right?
yes.
And that's normal. That's fine. That's okay. We're all allowed that. But I think that the people who kind of stay in the bad days the longest and who have the hardest time are people who are finding it hard to see those differences in the world and also within the relationships, like you were just talking about, and also, understanding this is a different time. This is meant for us to behave differently from here on out. This isn't just a one and done. Once this is done,
Yes.
congrats, go back to, running around like chickens with your head cuts off, like absolutely not. Like, this was a time for self-reflection. This was time for us to be, you know, open to everything that we were not open to before, and taking that newfound information into when things open up again.
Totally. Exactly. Because, I think sometimes we talk about when is the real normal life going to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the life that we know. And I very much believe it shouldn't be. We should
Correct.
create something else. So even for people, who might be trapped on their own, and, sometimes it's just a circumstance, right? But
Right.
sometimes it could be maybe a reflection. Okay, look at your friends, right? The extended family. Are they that close to me, or now I'm discovering I'm by myself? And then the question is, do I like it? If you do, that's great. But if
Mm-hmm.
it bothers you, then maybe this is the time to change it. Maybe this is the time to take a different action, to go, I don't want to live my life like I was living, right? Because I thought things were fabulous, and then now all of a sudden I feel lonely. No one is there calling me. I feel so. Maybe we do need to create, or ask ourselves what's important. That's what I've been asking myself. Okay, from now on, what are the choices I'm going to be making? I'm one of these people that say yes almost to everything. And now I'm thinking, maybe some things I won't be saying yes to, because I want to spend more time doing other things, right? Because now all
Right.
of a sudden I just realize those things make me so much happier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or equally happy. So now I could have balance. I don't have to always do this. I can discover something else. So yes, I think very much, going through the hard times could actually help us to grow, right? Because
Yeah.
then if something is uncomfortable, it's like wearing uncomfortable shoe. If it's uncomfortable, you're going to change it, right?
That's right.
So
That's
that
right.
would be our uncomfortable shoe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now if you have comfortable shoes and you're happy and you love it, keep it. But if you don't, this might be a time to go, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This might be, a reshuffling time, which I think it's so awesome, so fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think that, sometimes I think we used our financial ambitions and way of life. Uh, I don't think we purposefully did it, but inadvertently we wound up using that as a way to distract us from things like this. So not realizing that this was the work that we've been needing to do all along, like you said, it's a reshuffling, we constantly have to do that in our lives. We don't kind of like cleaning out your Facebook friends. Like, oh, I don't know this person, this person, this person, this person, like, why do I need them? Right. It's a similar situation. Like I was reading this article a while ago, a couple months ago, and it was talking about, I think it was called ambiguous friendships, meaning like if you have that person that kind of calls you and you're like, you see their name on the phone and you're like, oh, yay, oh, so-and-so. And you like immediately pick it up, right? Versus the kind of person that calls you and you're like,
right.
and you, and
And
you,
we all
and
have
you, and
those.
you have to, and you have to think like, oh, do I want to pick this up right now? Do I really want to, you know what I mean? What it shows you right there is that the maintenance of that relationship, just the idea of picking up the phone and talking to them is work. It's unnecessary work, and it's emotional energy that you're maybe not in the best place for you to be giving out at that moment in time to that type of individual.
It takes away from you, totally.
Right. Even though they may not be overtly a bad person, because we know the bad guys when we see them. We're like, oh, they're a bad person, I don't want anything to do with them, and we know we cut them off. But these people that are these kind of like ambiguous friendships, we're not necessarily sure, like, and we're not realizing it's costing us energy. So this is definitely a wonderful time for us to kind of like really see, even if you, especially if you are one of those people that you don't have friends or family at home that you live with, for you to just really assess the type of relationships you were having with everybody, for sure.
Exactly. And I think that comes down to what it is that you stand for. Do they align with who you are? I've noticed that I had some of those things, someone asked me to post, someone asked me to do this, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, wait a minute, this does not feel like that goes with me. That doesn't feel like it makes me my best. Yes, no, of course, occasionally we help someone, we reach out, I mean, I know you've done it so many times, I've done it so many times, and this is kind of what we do. So that's okay. But your immediate circle of friends should be someone, I called it, that you recycle the energy between us, right?
Correct.
That it's kind of like a very organic, you're excited, you are looking forward. Or even, when you're trying to say, what, I so look forward to talk to you, but can I call you tomorrow? And you don't feel guilty because they understand there is no obligation. Versus with the people that you think like, they're usually the ones that it's like, it takes so much effort, right? So much energy. You have to plan it, and then you ask yourself, how many of those do you want to have? And as we get older, I hate to use that word, as we get older, as we get wiser,
more
right?
seasoned.
That's it. You realize, is this really worth it? Because they're taking away time from great relationships with your friends that cultivate and create something fabulous.
Right. Yeah. And I think that I think you can relate to this because we're very similar in this regard. We emotionally attach people who kind of need that like healing, you know what I mean? And so oftentimes that kind of leads us to emotionally attach to kind of like maybe people that we really don't need to emotionally attach to. And I think that another thing that this time has taught me specifically is that not everybody, A, deserves your energy, but B, you're not the healer of the world. You're not the healer of everybody. You don't have to be. You need to be the healer of you. So that way, when you're around people can get what they need off of you without you sacrificing yourself.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Like, you don't need to be a plug for every lamp. You just need to be a bright light so people don't need lamps.
Correct.
Yeah. So then whoever gets whatever they get. So well said. I know why I love you. We got it. We can solve the world's problems. No, but that's so true, because it's so easy, just like you said, it's so easy to fall in trap of trying to help everyone. And then I call this Mother Teresa syndrome, right? And then you're running so short, then you feel depleted. And then, these people need so much a lot of time that they don't even see that you cannot give them anymore, right? That they keep reaching. And then at the end, it's easy for us to kind of feel like, oh my God, this is so exhausting. And then you're eliminating them from their life. You take whatever is good for you, so you still could be around. We can still enjoy each other, but without, taking so much from one another. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
Thank
you absolutely.
For sharing your wisdom. I mean, just your human being. You're just fabulous. You're just fabulous.
Oh, you are too. I'm so glad that we're doing this.
I know. I think this is going to be so great. So we have to do this again. Okay. So now at the end, we have to bust a fun move.
Okay.
I'm just confused. All right, people. This is the time to be happy or crazy. If you're not even in the happy place, just be crazy with us. Cause I'm happy.
Check it out.
That's it. Thank you, my darling. I love you. See you next time.
I love you too. See you next time.
Bye.